Welcome to the Intimate Marriage Podcast, where I teach educated, successful couples how to have incredible, passionate relationships so that you can stop compromising and start feeling fully alive in your relationship. I'm your host, Alexandra Stockwell, aka the Intimacy Doctor. I'm a physician and an intimate marriage expert. My husband and I have been married for 26 years. We have 4 children and full professional lives, and we've created an amazing relationship. I've shown hundreds of couples how to do so as well. So if you want to deepen your understanding of your own relationship and learn to access new heights of emotional, sensual, and erotic intimacy, you're in the right place. I will show you how. So let's dive in. Happy Valentine's Day. In this episode, I want to talk about how to make this a Valentine's Day to remember. I previously talked about how to set yourself up right for a happy Valentine's Day. And today I really want to go into how to make it fantastic, whatever it is that happens. If the babysitter cancels, if your partner's in a bit of a grumpy mood, if it's so good that you feel kind of confronted and end up deflecting compliments or pull your phone out in order to recalibrate to the familiar because it's so good, and that can be uncomfortable too. So whatever it is that's going to happen, I want you to set yourself up to really enjoy it and be a source of pleasure for yourself and your relationship. So, first of all, because Valentine's Day can have so much pressure associated with it, in order to have it be fantastic, your lover has to be amazing, your spouse has to show up just right. Just forget about all that. The thing that creates pleasure is you getting out of your head and into your body where you can really enjoy yourself. So when you schedule your Valentine's Day celebration, plan prep time, personal prep time, not just to get dressed and put your makeup on, but to take a slow, hot, luxurious bath. Or maybe you meditate, do some yoga, do a strip tease in front of the mirror just to turn yourself on and delight in who you are and the body you inhabit. The point is, come to Valentine's Day already feeling good. I'm going to use an analogy. When a lot of people date, they go on the date in order to feel good. That is not a winning approach. A winning approach is to come to the date feeling good. That way, you're going to have a great time. You may or may not want to see the guy again, but it's not dependent on him and who he is, whether or not you have a great time. Well, we can think that that is true when you go on a first or second date with someone. It's also true when it's your gazillionth date and you're spending Valentine's Day with someone you're married to and living in the same house with. Don't look for the circumstance or your spouse to make it fantastic. You come feeling fantastic, and if he's amazing, well, that's just the cherry on top and contributes to some synergistic deliciousness. So that is really the first step. Personal preparation, getting out of your head, in your body, feeling good, wearing clothes that make you feel so good. Then when you're having your Valentine's celebration, make a point of staying present in your body with your person. Ideally, you put your phones out of sight. Do you know the data shows that if you have your phone face down on the table, it restricts how good the conversation is compared to if you literally have it out of sight. So if you have kids at home and you want to leave your phone on in case one of them calls or the babysitter calls, you can do that and still have it in a purse. Out of sight just opens up more deliciousness. Also, did you know that the average couple in North America spends less than 4 minutes a day focused on kids and logistics? In other words, couples spend less than 4 minutes a day revealing something meaningful, vulnerable, talking about the relationship, sharing dreams and desires, challenges, questions about work or how you feel about your life, you know, things that are deeper and much more intimate, less than 4 minutes a day. Well, when that happens, when you are on a date, when you are celebrating Valentine's Day, not as a family, just the two of you, it can be sort of challenging to get into an intimate, delicious groove. In fact, there's a woman who is a follower of mine on Instagram. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, you definitely should. It's alexandra.stockwell.intimacy. Anyway, this woman who follows me on Instagram responded to one of my posts saying, the kids and the dogs, they always need something, they're always around. And in the rare moments that we have uninterrupted time, we can't actually think of anything to say. Well, she became my client, and now she's dancing a whole other dance, becoming expert at dropping into her body and being able to be present, mindful. And now the conversation is well lubricated and really delicious. She knows how to ask questions. She knows how to listen generously. She knows how to share of herself in a way that really creates connection. So, you definitely want to take advantage of the time together and not spend it exclusively focused on logistics, children, pets. Sure, if you have a good story to share about someone in your family, go ahead and share it. This is not like a strict rule, but really look for opportunities to share with more depth. It can be fun, it can be serious. The main thing is that the best conversations lead to the best sex. In other words, this whole experience is foreplay. And by foreplay, I don't mean it's a means to an end. No, the best foreplay is delicious unto itself. You want to continue to enjoy touching one another, either literally or metaphorically. So, wishing you a very happy Valentine's Day, knowing that it starts with preparing yourself and then being really present while you're together. So, by the way, I don't recommend you go to a super loud restaurant for Valentine's Day. I recommend that you are somewhere where you can have a more intimate conversation, like I'm describing. And then the third thing to really make it a Valentine's Day to remember is something that I first learned at the School of Womanly Arts from Mama Gina. She's a New York Times bestselling author. She's been interviewed on the Today Show, and she's very well known. But way back in the day when I was her student, she was not as well known, and she taught her material in such a dynamic way, and I've never forgotten it. So one of the things that she taught is favorite frames. It harkens back to the old cameras where we would have film, and so each shot would be a frame. In other words, favorite frames is when you are looking back the way you might with a camera at different moments you've shared. So as you wind down your Valentine's Day celebration, or maybe if you've gone out and you're driving home, so the celebration isn't necessarily over yet, but it's completing the talking portion, share with one another what your favorite moments were. What did you enjoy most? What surprised you? What was delightful? What insights and awareness did you have? What are the frames, the moments that you've shared that really spoke to you? Now, this can sound like something pretty simple, but it's very profound because the two of you will have shared the experience together, but you won't have had the same internal experience. And when you share favorite frames, even as it's happening, point out, oh, wasn't that fun when the waiter asked us what we wanted and it just made us smile and remembered the time we were in Italy together? Or one of my favorite frames is the way that you looked at me as we toasted one another. Or one of my favorite frames is just how cozy and comfortable it is to be with you. I mean, we could have just stayed there all night. I'm giving you examples of favorite frames. They're obviously going to be individual to your personalities and to your circumstances, but I highly recommend that in some way you review. You give yourselves an executive summary of the evening together or the day, however you're celebrating, because in doing that, it creates more intimacy, more connection, and more integration of the experience, because what stood out for you can be very different than what stood out for your partner. And when you both know a little bit more about one another's experience, it makes it more whole, more delicious, more satisfying, and more shared. So those are my tips to have a really happy Valentine's Day. Prepare yourself first, be present, and talk about things that are not in the everyday of your life, and do your favorite frames in order to anchor in, clarify, and integrate the experience. I hope you have a magnificent celebration and get to know yourself and your partner in new ways. If you enjoyed this episode of the Intimate Marriage Podcast, share it with someone who also wants more joy and more pleasure in their marriage. Be sure to leave a rating and a review, as that helps to spread my message. And if you're ready to deepen your relationship and create a truly intimate, delicious, and vibrant marriage, head over to theintimatemarriagepodcast.com to get started. Thank you for joining me on this episode. See you next time.